Increase my weight on my lat pull down and dumbbell deadlift. I love. Nice. You have been making a lot of strength wins, so I love that for you. All right, let me share my screen here. I haven't hit a PR in a little while now that I'm thinking about it, so something's coming. I feel it. All right, one more in here. We got started a new mobility class. Ooh, that's cool. I love that. I love starting new classes. I just got into self-defense. Been real outside my comfort zone. Maria like fucked me up yesterday. Oh my God. We're like getting better at it, but it's getting a little crazy. So, but I'm on class number 3, so still pushing outside of our comfort zone. All right, so today we are going to talk about meal prepping like a pro, strategies to stay consistent and never run out of ideas. So, you probably heard me say this before. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. That is our 100% gonna be our motto. And not only in this, in literally anything. You're going packing, if you have a list to what you're gonna pack, you're gonna pack much faster, right? Just because you planned ahead. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Now, before we get started, I just wanna talk about 3 things. Number 1, we all live different lives. And it's very important that you find what works best for you. I want to emphasize on the word find. I have probably tried almost every single one of the meal prep strategies in this lesson today, and I hate like 4 of them. But I've tried them. They didn't work. They just don't work for my schedule. They don't work for my preference. And I think the biggest issue that I see is like when we think starting a journey and when we think meal prepping, we kind of almost think like we have to fit into this box. When in reality, what works best for you? If any of you tried to meal prep the way that I do, you would absolutely hate it because my schedule like doesn't make sense. The way that I grocery shop doesn't make sense. The way that I meal prep kind of makes sense. Like there's a method to my madness, but I know for 90% of people, it just wouldn't work. Just for the simple fact that I do most of my groceries on a Wednesday morning. Like nobody does that. So again, we have to find what works best for you. 2, make sure that you do have enough containers, different sizes, make sure you get them because honestly, there's nothing more annoying than trying to meal prep and you don't have container. If you can do glass, that would be ideal just so we can get away from using too much plastic. That is something that I am working on. And 3, dedicate and schedule your days, right? So 1, we need to identify the day for when are you actually planning out what you're going to be having? When are you actually shopping for your ingredients? When are you actually cooking? For a lot of people, you do these, let's say on the same day. Sunday, what am I planning out? You go, you get your groceries, you come home, you cook. I personally do these on like 3 different days. So my cooking days are different than my grocery days. Even when I was back in Jersey, that grocery shopping was just a lot easier. I went on a Saturday. I never really like went grocery shopping, came home and meal prepped. I usually go make grocery shopping on a Saturday and then I'm meal prepping on a Sunday. So what are the days that you're actually planning out your week? What are the days that you are shopping and grocery shopping? If you have to go to different locations, having different days for that. And what are the days that you are cooking? So now we're going to get into 5 meal prep methods. Number 1 is cooking for a full week, right? This can be like every meal, or it can just be one meal of the day, but regardless, you're kind of prepping that out for the whole week. I know a lot of people that do this with like smoothie and oat bowls, because it's easy to keep it fresh. You can kind of put it in like a cute little container. You can put it in a cute little container or like Ziploc bags and you throw it in the smoothie and it's super, super, super simple. I personally have done this and it is, you think like making a smoothie or making like a protein shake or making like oats, it's so simple, but sometimes when you have a busy schedule, those little things in the day can really add up. So like having the things that I'm gonna put in the blender already prepared out for me so I can just grab it and done, it makes my week so much easier, right? So this is an option. And then also actually cooking for your whole week, right? Cooking your lunches, cooking your dinners, whether you're making different dinners or the same dinners, right? Actually cooking for the whole week. something that I love to say, if you want a bougie meal plan, you have to make bougie time. If you want to chef it up every single night and you want to have something real good for dinner, for lunch, for breakfast, you have to make time for that. Is it impossible? No. My aunt thinks I am absolutely crazy because every day for lunch, she is making this whole big extravagant lunch. She said, "What'd you have?" I'm like, "I had some tofu and I had some potatoes and I had some vegetables." She's like, "Again?" I'm like, "Yeah, because you took 2 hours to cook today and I took 5 minutes." So if you want to do these extravagant meals and you can make the time for it, 100%. But something that I struggled with before is like thinking that my meals were like so boring. And now I actually enjoy my boring meals because they save me a lot of mental energy and they save me a lot of time. So I try to find pleasure in my potatoes and my vegetables and my rice bowls, like the simple little things that really I just enjoy the fact that I can fuel my body without stressing myself out. Option number 2 is cooking 3 days out. This is something that I do. All right, this is best if you want your food a little bit more fresh. Right, you don't want to cook 7 days. Most of you probably don't. By the seventh day, you're like, this chicken kind of like a little dry. Right, if you have the time for it, right, and ask yourself, what 2 days are you going to cook for? So personally, how I do it is I cook 2 to 3 days out. It'll be on a Sunday, on a Tuesday, and then on a Thursday. And then I'm cooking for like what maybe I need for the weekend. So I found that that schedule works really well. I tried doing it on Wednesday, like Sunday, and then Wednesday midweek. It didn't work. I would always run out of things on Wednesday. Right. So again, I bring it back to like finding what works best for you. 3 is cooking in bulk. This is my favorite meal prep style, which honestly, I kind of do now. So I do cook 3 days out, but I don't necessarily like prepare my meals in different Tupperwares for what I'm having. I would rather make a massive batch of potatoes, a big batch of vegetables, a big batch of tofu, and on the day of, like 5 ounces of tofu, 5 ounces of potatoes, that's like grain in my head. Like it's just boom, boom, and then the vegetables go in there, right? Just because I personally don't like to portion it out, but I know some of you do, so that's totally fine. Vegetables are gonna be huge. If you find yourself not eating enough vegetables, prep them in advance. I do my cook vegetables at the beginning of the week. Towards the end of the week, my vegetables get a lot lazier just because cooking vegetables takes longer than I feel anything else. So that's when I like really make sure I get diversity. So I'll buy a bunch of vegetables, I kind of just saute them up and then I add them to meals. Or obviously it just depends. Like this week, I just kind of got green beans. And then towards the end of the week is when I'm having my arugula, my spinach, my cilantros, my greens that I don't, my cucumbers, cutting up some tomatoes, because those don't really take time to cook. So that's the dynamic that I like to have. All right, having your fresh protein option, have it ready to get cooked. I personally with tofu, it's a little bit different. I know with like fish or chicken or like meat options, it doesn't really taste as fresh always, but you don't necessarily have to cook it in advance, but maybe like my mom does this all the time. She just portions it out. So when it is time to cook it, you just kind of grab it and you just toss it on the grill, right? Similar to like if you said that you're gonna make eggs and you're just cooking up the eggs real quick, you're just taking them out. Number 4 is cooking double for tomorrow's lunch. So if you, let's say, cook for your family and you're cooking lunch or you're cooking dinner, whatever you're having, you're gonna make an extra portion. That's what you're gonna have for lunch the next day. And then every night you kind of do the same thing. You cook your dinner, you have that for lunch the next day. You cook your dinner, you have that for lunch the next day. Back to if you want a bougie meal plan, you have to make bougie time. I would love to cook dinner every single night. I really would. And maybe it will be in my future because I do enjoy cooking, but I find that when I finish work, I don't really have the mental energy to cook. Like I don't really want to cook. I'm usually like getting hungry. I go for a walk, I want to come home and then I just want to eat. So that personally doesn't work for me, but again, if it works for you. 5 is outsourcing. HelloFresh is an option. I know that we have that in the States. And then there's probably a ton of different meal prep options that we can also do as well. I love that as an option. And if that's something that maybe you don't want to cook, you still want to hit your macros, you still want to eat healthy, but you just want to get a meal prep sent to you. I think this is an awesome option. And it doesn't have to be every single option. So you don't have to get like your meal prep or your HelloFresh or like whatever for every single meal, but maybe you're just doing it for your lunches. And then for breakfast is quick, you can put it together. For dinner, kind of the same vibe. Now, some bonus thoughts. You can mix some of these styles. So the cooking, or let's say you have smoothies every single day and you're prepping that for the week, but your actual food, you're doing 3 days in advance. Like I mentioned, maybe dinner, you're prepping 3 days in advance, and for lunch, you are outsourcing and you're ordering meal prep, right? So it doesn't have to be one. I use the bulk and I use the 3 day, and I use a little bit of like this cooking or prepping my fruits and my vegetables in advance, right? So do not be afraid to do that. Another thing that I have found, I just kind of mentioned it, it works really well for me. Usually when I give this option for anybody that's like super overwhelmed with their meal plan and making sure to meal prep, don't cook before dinner if that's usually where you're going wrong. Cook after. And I know that sounds kind of silly, but I find that for me, I'm able to like chef it up and like take my time in the kitchen if I already ate. But if I have to eat, then I'm more focused on like, I'm hungry, I want to finish this meal. I don't want to make like a bunch of packets of tofu or wait for the potatoes to cook and then have dinner. So every time I usually throw out this option, like, hey, you usually meal prep and then you're meal prepping like almost like how I do on Sundays. On Sundays, I do meal prep and I cook and then I eat after, but that wouldn't work for me any day in the week. So again, you don't have to cook before dinner. You can cook after when you just have mental clarity. Couple roadblocks that we might come through in terms of meal prepping. Because I really do think that this is like the hardest part of the journey. Showing up to workouts, you just cross it off your list. It's in your schedule, you go, boom, it's done. The meal prepping side of things makes things a lot more difficult. So there are roadblocks that we are going to come across. Number one is communication at home. So plan with your partner, your roommate, your parents, whatever the case may be, make sure that you are having that plan. Communicate with them. My parents thought it was very annoying when I used to live with them. I'm like, hey, what are we eating tomorrow? Like just trying to plan that out. But make sure that you have those conversations so that everybody's on the same page. Make sure you set those boundaries. I know the case also where like you'll meal prep something and then you put it in the fridge and somebody eats it. That's a boundary that needs to get set. Hey, that's my meal prep. Like I'm on this journey, XYZ, right? Explaining your goals. Why is this important? My parents thought I was like super annoying asking all of these questions, but then when I explained to them why I meal prep, why I do XYZ, like then they were kind of like, oh, okay, that's fine. So it's just a conversation that you have to have, making sure that your partner's on the same page, because maybe they're used to eating out more, or maybe they wanted, I don't know, like maybe they don't really have like a system that you do. Make sure that you are communicating so that everything is on the same page. Be selfish to your future self. She needs you more. I never, ever, ever, if you're not catching the vibe already about my, like how much I love to meal prep and how much to cook, I don't really love to. But I know that my future self is going to be super grateful if I meal prep. And every single time I wake up early on a Sunday before I have like an eventful day, or I get home early because I have to meal prep, I never want to do those things. I never want to meal prep, but I'm always super, super, super grateful that I do, because it saves me a lot of time and I'm able to fuel my body. I'm able to have a good relationship with food because I'm not stressed about all of the things that need to go into my plan. So make sure that you are selfish for your future self. You don't want to meal prep now, but you're going to be so happy that you meal prepped in the future. Schedule changes. Things aren't always going to go as planned. Maybe you had planned to meal prep, or you had planned to have like whatever meal, and your schedule changes. Maybe you got called into work, maybe you had to stay late, maybe something happened, an appointment changed, or kids decided that they just wanted to fuck up your whole entire schedule. Remember that you are a problem solver. The moment that I started telling myself that I'm a problem solver, I genuinely became one, and I started to get a lot less frazzled when things didn't go my way. Before, if you even mess with my schedule like a little bit and I had this perfect day plan and I had my perfect like week plan and my workouts and everything, if you mess with my schedule, I just felt like just shut down. Like everything sucks, everything is just going to shit. But becoming a problem solver is giving you that ability to pivot, right? Breathe, adjust your plan, move forward. The second something gets in the way of the plan that you had for yourself, breathe, adjust your plan, move forward. And if you know your days vary, also plan for that. Let's say you have different schedules. Now I have self-defense 2 times a week and it's kind of throwing me off and my schedule is like my sleep schedule is off. Now I'm trying to plan for that. So this is something that can work. 4, things not working. If something doesn't work, if you tried something after this, you're like, I'm gonna try that 3-day thing. If you didn't like it, if it didn't go as planned, error just means you found what you don't like. And how often do we try new things and we're like, that's not for me, but you tried it. And if you didn't try it, you wouldn't know that it's not for me, right? So whenever you try any meal prep or whenever you try tracking your calories or whenever you try your schedule for anything, anytime you're trying something new and it doesn't work, but the actual concept is in line with your goals, it's not, I'm never going to succeed and this is just not meant for me. It's that didn't work. I need to find something that will, right? And obviously, if you guys have any issues with this, that's why we're here as well. Now, last parts. Everybody must do this. Never go to sleep without planning tomorrow's meals. Never go to sleep without planning tomorrow's meals. If you fail to plan, you will plan to fail. If you go to sleep today and you have no idea what you're eating tomorrow, you're going to wake up and be like, fuck, what am I having today? And then you're pulling out your app and you're trying to play macro Tetris and you're trying to figure out the meals. And now, instead of loving this beautiful thing that nourishes our body, it's becoming something that is annoying and stressful. Food is so good and everybody wants to love food. So let's give ourselves the opportunity to love food. So before you go to sleep, it's always on your mind, what am I going to eat tomorrow? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. This also comes in, I always will add this, because along with the meal prep is obviously if you're tracking your calories. Every single night, what am I eating tomorrow? Is it prepped? Is it ready? Is it good to go? Make sure that you're putting it into your app. This is especially important for anybody that bulk meal preps, because I have all my tofu and we're having maduros tomorrow. So I have all my plantains there. But like, I need to know what are the portions, because I don't want to be trying to figure that out at lunch to figure out if I need 5 ounces or 6 ounces, or if I'm going to end the night and not like hit my calories. Right. So make sure that you're putting that in. Always when we are tracking, putting your protein options, what's your protein for breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, right? And then you can fill in the rest. What is everything else? Making sure that's hitting your calories. Making it super, super simple, right? If this part, again, if you're having trouble with this, if you haven't even gotten to this part, maybe you just joined the program like 2 weeks ago, don't worry about this. We will get into it. But this part is very, very important. Now, the last thing that I want to touch on, is this the last thing? I might have one more thing after, but I think this is the last thing. Coming up with more meal prep ideas and meal plan ideas, especially when you get bored. I don't want this program to be something where like there are programs that literally give you a meal plan every single week. Here's what you're supposed to eat. Do not sway away from this. So if you're craving chocolate, you're fucked. If you're going out for pizza, like it throws things off. That's not the style that I like to do, because that doesn't necessarily teach you anything. In a year, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years, when you're doing this on your own, it's very important that you're understanding how you can take on this journey. How many calories are you supposed to eat? And then how we can come up with more ideas. I'm personally not somebody that loves looking up new recipes and complicated things. I love what's my carb, what's my protein, what's my fat, what's my vegetable, my fruit. That's something that I find is very, very helpful. So I'm going to, let me stop sharing my screen here. And I'm going to open up this beautiful thing called ChatGPT and AI. And it is a beautiful thing because it really can you guys see my screen here? It can make your life a lot easier. So I made this prompt and I'm actually going to share it with you guys whenever we share the thing. You can use the same thing I put it here. I don't know if you can see my notes page here. Can you see my notes page? Okay, cool. I'm gonna share that with you. So I put in like, make me a blank meal plan to fit my blank calories. My protein goal is blank. My fat goal is blank. This can be flexible with my carbs. For breakfast, I have the same breakfast every single day until I really get tired of it. So I don't want ChatGPT to tell me to make a new breakfast because I don't want to, right? So what I did is I said, make me a vegetarian meal prep or meal plan to fit my 19 to 2100 calories. My protein goal is 120. My fat goal is 70. This can be flexible with my carbs. For breakfast, I like 2 eggs, 100-calorie tortilla. I don't know if ChatGPT knows what an arepa is, if anybody does. 100-gram banana, just kind of threw it in there. 1 tablespoon of honey. Make me a plan, because I like 3 days, 3 days. I like that system. It works really well for me. So realistically, I need 2 options for lunch, 2 options for dinner, and a very simple snack. I want it to be simple, because when it comes to snack, I'd rather just have like 1 ingredient or 2. Super simple. I like for my protein options to be, because this is what I have right now, high protein, tofu, the brand that I have, vegetarian chorizo. You can even go as far as like telling it the calories of the chorizo, but I didn't do that, but I could. I'd like my carbs to be potatoes and rice. Let's say that's what you have. Or in this case, like for this week, if I want plantains or if I want pasta or whatever else you want to throw it, like literally whatever you have in your fridge, I want my vegetables to be like XYZ, right? I'm open to anything else. We come here and it's going to start to generate the exact thing. So this is the breakfast that I have every day, 450 calories, right? And it's going to start to generate a meal plan for you. Lunch, here's what I'll have Monday through Wednesday. And then here's what I'll have, let's say, or Sunday to Tuesday I do. And then Wednesday to Friday, right? Then for dinner, this is what I'm having the first 3 days. And then here's what I'm having the last 3 days. All of the grams are there. It does literally everything for you. And then very, very simple snack options. You can do this as well, even before you grocery shop, because you can ask it, make me a grocery list. And it's gonna just spit out exactly what you need. You go to the store and you just grab it. You can ask it, do you need help with seasonings? I don't know how to cook this. Give me all of those, but when it comes, if you just give me very simple ingredients, I can do the rest. So I don't like that, or I don't ask it that. Something that I did see, let's see if it did it again. No, when I did this morning, it gave me beans twice, and I don't want beans all week. So if it gives you something that you don't want, I think I have it right here. I literally just told it, I don't want black beans twice. And then it did the same exact thing, and it just changed that one meal that I had. Now, once we're here with that meal plan, if you want to start putting it, like visualizing how we do our core 4, right? We do our core 4 and I put it there. Can you write this in the format of the core 4 bonus? Protein, carb, fat, veggie, fruit, and the bonus is some type of add-on or a sauce, right? That's how I like to visualize my meals. It was a little cuter before. Oh, no, it made my grocery list. Ask it for that before you ask for the grocery list. So this morning, what it did was it put my meals into exactly how we plan it out here. So if you have this on your sheet and you want to start visualizing your meals as protein, carb, veggie, fruit, fat, and an add-on, ChatGPT will literally do that for you. So here you have your exact meal plan that's going to hit your calories for the entire week. And if you wanted to go this step further, like I started to fill it out, this is what I'm having. I'm having my usual breakfast. I'm having high protein stir fry for the first half of the week, vegetable, chorizo and potato bowl. And then I'm having this, and then I'm having this. And then obviously like you can fill that all in. But this is a very, very, very simple way for if you are running out of ideas, but you also don't want like complicated recipes and you don't want things that are teaching you how to cook it and like just overly complex, ChatGPT will literally do it all for you. Let me pull back the lesson. I totally lost it. Here we go. Sorry. Okay, cool. And then last bit, obviously, other than using that, you guys also have us. Hey Nicole, hey Maria, can you guys give me options? I'm just looking for a bunch of pasta recipes. Sure. And we'll help you with those. I'm not really sure of literally anything. I want to go more plant-based and I'm just looking for more ideas. You guys have more ideas. Sure. I'm looking for more things to have on the for breakfast, right? You'll see me post this on my Instagram as well. I usually like to share it with you guys. And then also adding it to the group and just asking a question. I saw Becky posted this morning a recipe. If you do new recipes, like Ozan posted this one here, super simple. Ask in the group, hey, does anybody have any ideas for like X? I think somebody asked like a while ago, hey, I have a lot of lemons left. What can I do with them? And then people just started shooting out ideas. So that's what we're here for. Lean on us to get more ideas. All right. So just a quick recap. Cooking for the full week, cooking for 3 days out, cooking in bulk, cooking double for tomorrow, or outsourcing. And making sure that you choose what works best for you. You test and you find and you try, you get curious, you combine these things together. But just make sure that you never go to sleep without planning tomorrow's meals. And as long as you do that, you're one step closer to figuring out the whole week. If you figure out one day, you'll figure out 3 days. If you figure out 3 days, you're figuring out the whole week. You plan, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And remember always that food is love and strength is power. Do we have any questions for today? Lots of information. Ooh, questions, comments, concerns. Does anybody have anything on their end, maybe tricks that have worked for you that you would like to share? Or anything that you would like to share about your journey? You can unmute yourself if you would like.
Hey everybody, my only comment is the find what works for you is the absolute truth. I do a combination of batch cooking and then portioning things out. Like I eat a lot of fresh fruit with like cottage cheese and yogurt. So I portion all my fruit out, measure it out, have it in my containers. So there is no excuse. Some days I go into the office, most days I work from home. It doesn't matter. It is portioned out, it is ready to go. So whether I'm home and just can grab it, or whether I'm going out the door, I can grab it. It gives me no excuse, no reason to say, you know what, I didn't prep that. I'm going to go to Chick-fil-A on the right way to work or something like that.
I love that. I like I'm that way with my snacks for dinner, for my meals. I can honestly like, I usually plan it out. But if I don't plan my snacks, I will just start munching on things. I'll go and I'll grab a rice cake, I'll grab some chocolate, I'll grab some fruit, and like I'm like, I could have had something that was pretty well prepared. One thing that stood out to what Sarah said also is the difference between if you're working at home or going to the office. I know some of you do a bit of both, whether you are doing both or fully working at home, meal prep should still be part of your life. Because realistically, you still are busy. You're still working. You're still getting stressed. You're still going to the gym. You still have things to do around the house. So maybe you're cooking. I'm able to cook my breakfast because I do work from home, but nothing else can get cooked. So I like that you mentioned that. Thank you, Sarah. Anybody else? And I'll open it up also if you have any questions unrelated to today. Maybe something that's come up this week in training, in your nutrition, in life, literally anything. And then I let you guys go. We're good, going once, going twice, and perfect. Okay, cool. So I will post the ChatGPT prompt, play around with it. Honestly, I love AI for that. For helping me figure that out, because I don't need something complicated, I need something super, super simple. If you guys have any questions after this, or if you're watching the recording and you have questions, you know where to find us. Love you guys. See you during check-ins.